idea of lack or not,
That's
maybe.
right. We could do whatever we want. We don't break the rules. We make the rules around here. Hi, Janet. Welcome, everyone. Well, we're live. Welcome, everyone, to the John Lavenia Success Mastermind, April 1st edition. I am your host, Mark Riggle, Lieutenant Colonel. April Fools, everyone. I was trying. That's what I was trying to do. Janet was think of a funny April Fools prank to play on everyone. I was thinking, all right, we hereby announce that the mastermind group shall meet once a year moving forward. No, that wouldn't work. Nobody would buy it. April Fools, everyone. Welcome to our April Fools edition. And I do see a bunch of people tuning in here. Actually, intimate crowd today. I think we got more people that should be showing up any minute now. But I do see John Apogee and Allie's here, Bill McDonald, Cyril, Daisy, Edward, Gail, Janet, and Ivier, and somebody else just joined us, but the order changes. So maybe was that Gail? I don't know. Anyway, welcome. Today I am filling in for Mark Riggle, who is handling other things, as it were. Man, that guy's been busy lately between jury duty, right, and now some stuff he's dealing with his business and personal life. Anyway, we love you, Mark. If you're listening on recording or via the interwebs, we're looking forward to seeing you back for your not only your general sessions but your global and tactical marketing, which is not tonight, by the way. We do have a full schedule today. We have, of course, our hospitality suites always open as soon as we're done here. We're going to have gentle yoga and relaxation with Nancy Burtonshaw, our resident yoga expert. That's going to be at 3:30 p.m. Eastern U.S. time today. And then at 8 p.m. Eastern tonight, we are going to have Brand Builder with my secret weapon, Shannon Lavenia. Get excited about that. I know everybody enjoys getting those insights and how you can put yourself head and shoulders above your would-be competition on the interwebs using branding techniques. That being said, by the way, all that's real. None of that is April Fools. But as we get into the topic for today, I was reminded because of the date. By the way, my daughter spent her whole night last night preparing pranks for me and her mother, right? And so one of the pranks that she prepared, which I just discovered, was she took all the soap out of our shower. So that was interesting. Once you're in the shower, the water's running, there's no soap. Very nice. Thank you, Trinity. But the other thing she did, which I thought was pretty interesting, was she took a bottle of nail polish that she didn't like. Yes, my daughter has her own nail polish at 10 years old, and so she created, I don't know if it was wax paper or something. She spilled the nail polish onto the wax paper to make the whole thing like a big mess, and then it dries and then you peel it off. And anyway, she delivered that product of spilled nail polish onto my wife's computer today, which she thought was just hilarious. So, and pretty quickly we figured out that, oh, that's not a real spill. Anyway, I was tipped off. I got to see it in the making. That being said, when I was thinking about today and what we're going to be talking about, which get excited, I think you're going to really enjoy this. By the way, this is the product of several conversations that I've had with clients over the last 48 hours or so. People I'm working with in various capacities to build businesses and all this. The idea of confidence came up, and one of the things that I like to help people do is to increase their confidence. Certainly, we've got a bunch of able-minded and able-bodied people here, right? I mean, you can do whatever you want, really. We just have to decide that we're going to do it, and that we're going to be successful at it. And then I was thinking, you know what? Today's April 1st. I remember something that I heard. Has anyone ever heard of a guy named Brian Tracy? Brian Tracy. Um, Back in the 1900s, 70s, 80s, yeah, into the 90s. I don't know if he's still out there doing it. I know Bob Proctor certainly is, but Brian Tracy was one of these, and probably still is one of these motivational speaker and personal development types that I started buying his stuff when it was released on Nightingale Conant. So a lot of people here obviously are familiar with Earl Nightingale. He and Lloyd Conant started the company Nightingale Conant, which popularized audiobook, cassettes and records, Of course, The Strangest Secret, right? Anyway, Brian Tracy, he published this course called The Psychology of Achievement. And I'm not seeing any nods right now. So perhaps none of you have been exposed to this, but it was one of those perennial classics, like here's the guy giving you the mindset of success, and he published a bunch of courses. But he was rather prolific in the 80s. And I bought them. I got the cassettes. So I'm going to play a cassette for you today, just a piece of one. Yes, I do have a cassette player still. Actually, I've archived. I'm in the process of archiving this big box of cassette programs into my hard drive so that I have it all on my audio server. And one of the courses that I've already archived is The Psychology of Achievement. And there's one piece in there that I was reminded of today because of the date, because it's April 1st. You'll put two and two together here as I play this for you. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And then I'm going to offer you, I don't know, maybe a 5-minute excerpt. We rarely do this, right? This is a weird, special kind of a thing. I'm going to offer you an excerpt from The Psychology of Achievement. Let me go ahead and pull that up real quick. And then if I can get a nod or something once I start playing the audio, where the hell is the thing that I'm looking to share here? Sorry, guys. This is not one that I've often done. Where is my browser? Here it is. Okay, now we'll go back to Zoom. Terribly unprofessional. Okay, here we go. So can you guys see my screen? I get a nod. I see John Apogee. I see Gail. I'm going to go ahead and play audio. And when you hear the audio, if you could also give me a nod, that would be helpful. And here we go.
We know that if you could buy a bottle of pills at the drugstore and take them along with your orange juice in the morning, the same as you take a vitamin C pill, and have a positive mental attitude all day, everybody would do it. So our question has been, where do attitudes come from? And that brings us to our old friend, expectations. Our attitudes come from our expectations about outcomes. If we expect things to turn out well, we have positive attitudes. If we expect things to turn out poorly, we have a tendency to have negative attitudes. Let me give you an example. Imagine that you live in Los Angeles, and you have put together the most important project of your life, and you are short of funds, and you decide to invest everything that you have in flying to New York to find a backer for your project. And you fly to New York on a Sunday, and you have a whole series of appointments lined up on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And you start off Monday morning, and you go out to see people. And everybody that you go and see turns you down flat, rejects you cold, tells you that they're not interested in your proposal, that it's harebrained, that it's too expensive, that it's ill thought out. And this is the most important project you've ever put together in your life. And you go from interview to interview, and every single person turns you down and shuts the door and rejects you. And this happens all day Monday, and it happens all day Tuesday, and it happens all day Wednesday. And by Wednesday night, you're totally exhausted. You're totally dispirited. You're discouraged. You don't have any energy at all. And you crawl back to your hotel room, and you close the door and pick up the telephone and phone home. The person who picks up the telephone on the other end of the line, recognizing that you're feeling discouraged, says, "Cheer up. Don't feel so bad. It doesn't matter anyway, because we've just won $1 million in the lottery." Now let me ask you, what would happen to your spirits that moment when you learned that you'd won $1 million? Now, would you have to think about it for 10 or 15 minutes? Or would something happen to you instantaneously? Instantly you learned that you'd won $1 million. All your fatigue, all your depression, all of your aggravation, all of the rejection of the last 3 days would disappear from your mind, and the only thing that you would think of is the fact that you had that $1 million and all the opportunity and affluence and possibilities that represented. You'd be filled with energy and excitement and enthusiasm. Now let us say that you had committed yourself to 2 more days of appointments, and you were going to see those appointments through because you're a responsible person. And you go out the next day to your appointments one after another. How much more likely would you be to be successful in those appointments knowing that you had $1 million waiting for you when you got home? How much more enthusiastic would you be? How much more confident? How much more forceful? How much more positive would you be? How much more likely would people be to respond positively to your proposal on Thursday and Friday rather than the way they did on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday? Well, Let us assume that you finish your appointments, you jump on the airplane that afternoon, you fly all the way home to Los Angeles, you jump in your car, you race home, you run in the door, you kiss whoever it is that's there, and you say, "Where is it?" And the person says, "April Fool. I was just kidding. I recognized that you were feeling a little bit tired and discouraged, and I thought I would just tell you something to cheer you up." Now, after you had finished strangling whoever it was, you might ask yourself this question: was your attitude real or not? Were your feelings truly positive and excited and enthusiastic or not? And the answer that you'll come up with was, yes, your attitude was real. Your feelings were real. Your level of energy, your enthusiasm, your vitality, your excitement were all real, because those are not the sort of things that you can artificially manufacture, even though the expectations upon which they were based were totally false. If you can understand the importance of this concept, you'll have one of the keys to understanding why some people are far more successful than others, in that what winners make a habit of doing is manufacturing their own positive expectations in advance of the event. They have an attitude of positive self-expectancy, in that well before something good happens to them, they are expecting something good to happen, expecting the very best to come out of their efforts. They are manufacturing their expectations even though they have no information upon which to base it.
All right. Let me kill that sound. There we go. Okay. Are we back? We're live. You see me? Okay, good. I was reminded of that just because of the date, just that one line, April Fool, right? You didn't actually win the lottery, but oh my goodness, what a concept. I remember when I first heard that, I was thinking, here's the guy, out hitting the pavement, right? Trying to sell his idea to the investor, or, to make the deal, to get agreement. And all the while getting lower and lower, because throughout life we accumulate wins and losses. And as we've talked about before, a lot of times we identify with the losses, right? We kind of fixate our attention on that if we're not careful. And here is, in a moment, and not even based on anything real. This wasn't even the truth, okay? But in a moment, the complete transformation. Now, there's an old saying, the best time to make a sale is right after you made the sale. I don't need the sale, right? So I'm going to go meet with this client anyway. I told him I would. And hopefully for his sake, they buy the deal. It's a good deal, right? Otherwise, I wouldn't be selling it. Can we manufacture that like throughout our day? Can we be in that chronic state throughout the day? Like, you just won the lottery, man. Relax. And that's what I've worked on for the last 30 something years. I've gotten okay with it. I'm pretty good. But the amount of thoughts and considerations and significances and internal dialogue about, what if I fail? I think right there, if we just look at that, and we look at, perhaps, and we could talk about this, situations where you do feel like 10 foot tall and bulletproof. I was talking to a client about this yesterday. What is one area of your life where you just crush? You're like Godzilla, man, like awesome. And you know it. It's not a conceited thing. It's not a boastful thing. It's just honest self-appraisal. What is humility? Honest self-appraisal. You're really good at that. And how do you feel when you accomplish something in that space? When you've produced the end product, the statistic, the result? How do you feel when you do that? Great. Can you feel that way about this other area of life where perhaps you're experiencing not that, right? Something less than that, a lesser state of confidence, a lack of confidence. Can you? Yeah. What would it then look like to know that you couldn't fail in that other thing? If you were as competent and knew that you were, if you were that competent in this other area, let's say business, for example, and you're really good in, let's say, I don't know, health and fitness or something, but in business, oh, I'm not sure, right? Well, how do you feel when you leave the gym? All right, can you feel that way when you are engaging with a customer in business or doing whatever these activities are? I argue yes, but this requires thought, right? I mean, now we've got to be inductive about this. And we've got to, as Waddles said, we recently read the book, Science of Getting Rich. This is the hardest work there is. This is it. It's thought. It's rough. It's hard work. You can grow weeds in the garden effortlessly, but to grow, those ripe trees of fruit, well, So success isn't easy, but neither is failure. I mean, choose, right? Do you want to just keep being that guy bemoaning his plight as he goes from one rejected, appointment to another, or do you want to throw on a different set of clothes? Because I will tell you right now, with no uncertainty about it whatsoever, there are people walking around this planet who don't have 10% of your competence, but have more confidence in certain areas. I think it was a funny bit that I saw from John Cleese. You guys know John Cleese, British comedian, Monty Python, right? But he was talking about how stupid people can be exceedingly competent, because it's the same amount. Like, you got to have a certain amount of intelligence to understand that you're not good at something. So smart people tend to be less confident. Smart people tend to be less confident because they know that they don't know everything, right? Any fool can run around and think that they know everything, right? So there's I guess the balance of it, right? Is here I am addressing my peers in this very competent and able group, and yet even here in this group we can find, and I think now we know why, a lack of confidence in certain areas. Again, this doesn't mean that you're boastful and that you don't need to learn anything because you've arrived or something. Perish the thought. Okay, but there's a balance. I think about this. This was something that Eric Hoffer said. Eric Hoffer wrote books about how mass movements are formed, and cults and religions and entire political movements and everything. And he talked about how in times of change, the learners will inherit the earth, while the learned find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists. Now, in order to be able to learn something, we've got to have enough intelligence and confidence to know that we can, right? But not too much confidence to think that we don't need to. So there's that balance again, right? I know that I can learn. I'm not a dummy, okay? And I know that I don't know everything, right? So I'm not commander of the universe either, okay? So I'm right there in that spot of coachability. So where do we go with this? Where do we go? Is there some area of your life that you'd like to develop confidence in yourself? Like Dorothea Brand said in her classic book, Wake Up and Live, which we haven't read yet as a group, but we will. Act as though it were impossible to fail. That's what this guy did with the April Fool's joke. Yeah, you won the lottery. Don't worry about it. Go knock out those other appointments. I would venture that he closed the deal, right? So, some of those appointments had to turn out in his favor with that posture. This also goes back to the impression of increase. So what Brian Tracy's talking about is, and as I've introduced the idea many times, who's doing it, right? So this person who doesn't need the sale, so to speak, the person who's experienced a bit of non-attachment, fun, flippancy, game, right? Who doesn't like games, right? That's the person who's showing up and who is impressing the prospective client, the buyer, the investor. They're impressing them with increase. Oh, you get to deal with me. And look, I'm on the success train over here. All aboard, baby, right? What's the offer? Well, I'll tell you about the offer in just a minute, but you're dealing with me. And I'm an asset to that pending transaction. I am an asset. I can go buy such and such product anywhere from anybody, but you can only buy it from me here in this transaction. So you see, there's a difference between the product and the offer. The offer includes me, right? Which is irreplaceable. I have no competition. Am I making any sense? And can you put yourself in those shoes? Like you just won the lottery. What would you attempt if you knew you couldn't fail? Or that you didn't need the sale, so to speak. Again, I think in terms of sales training, because I've been swimming in it for decades. What do you think about this? I want to open this up and hear, how does this show up in your life? And have you done this? Have you tricked yourself? through the power of thought. And by the way, we do this every day that we look at our goals. We do this every day with expectancy and emotion. We do this every day that we see the picture of our dream house or result, or, you know, the perfect fit body, or whatever's on your dream board, whether physically or, you know, in the dream board of your mind. The physical prompts help because we forget a lot and we get encumbered, you know, by all these other appearances, right? But have you done this, and have you seen this pan out in your own life? I can tell you that it has in my life again and again and again and again. I walk into a meeting and I know that this person doesn't need, they deserve. They deserve to buy. They deserve to accept the very generous, gracious, and benevolent offer that I'm making for them with whatever, you know, the product or service that I'm representing. The whole experience is different. I could have a sales script, which I typically don't. Whereas another person has that same sales script and they totally botch it, and I, you know, effortless, because I act as though it were impossible to fail. Every single time, no, but more often than not, and that's come with practice. So if I asked you right now, and I'm going to stop talking. If I asked you right now, what are you really good at? What are you among the best on planet Earth at doing? Can you come up with an answer? And then this follow-up question would be, how do you feel when you do that? And then describe the feelings. Confident, obviously, would be one of them, right? Enthusiastic, carefree. Here's an affirmation. I feel totally carefree about everything in my life, including, and then whatever that thing is that you've had your attention on: money, fitness, my relationships. I feel totally carefree about everything in my life, including money. How does that feel? Try that on. Who's got some thoughts about this? Come on down. Let's hear some members. Hello. Is anybody home? Or did I just put everybody to sleep with this? I'm going to start calling on people. I know that you're successful in some area of your life. And again, this is not a boast. So you come out here and tell me what you're friggin' awesome at, and how does it feel to be awesome at that? Who'd like to be first? I'm going to call on somebody, and it's going to be in alphabetical order. Oh, no, here comes some hands. Thank you. Okay, Nicola, you're up first, and then we're going to go to Bill McDonald. Hey, Nicola, what are you awesome at, and how does it feel when you do it?
This is gonna, all sorts going on in my head now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I became pretty good at what you've just described in my previous role. And I'm just kind of just processing it all still here, so bear with us. But and I think that's what helped me get to where I got to in that role. So I think I've mentioned before, I kind of progressed through the ranks and got to a director level because I became very good at, before, it's kind of visualizing the outcome that I wanted, but not just the big goals, the day-to-day outcome that I wanted. So I would spend time on a morning visualizing my day and the meetings I was going to have. And I, you know, prior to doing this and being aware of this kind of new way of thinking and living your life, I would get quite nervous and anxious going into meetings, and sometimes think I was out of my depth because I worked, you know, my peers were all men and they were all at least 10 years older than me. So you can imagine, you know, the type of work I was doing. It was very logical, analytical, very numbers driven, and I was a bit of an odd one out. So I would always just be a little bit inferior, but I kind of stumbled across this work and started to become very good at it. And then all of a sudden, things just started to happen a lot easier. And then situations would just come to me. And I do think that, I'm still kind of processing this, but I do think that a lot of that was down to the fact that I would visualize the outcome that I wanted for that day. And all of the kind of situations I was going to have to go into, I would picture the outcome that I wanted, rather than go into it kind of unprepared, if you like, in that way. and anxious and nervous, and that's what you then get. You kind of get what you expect. So, and I'm just sitting here thinking, I've probably not kept up that practice, if you like, as strongly since having left the corporate world in the new kind of solo business world. And I'm not sure why that is. I think I just need to spend a little bit of time. So I do it, definitely do, but it doesn't come as easily. I have to consciously do it, whereas I became very good at it in that previous world. But I think, and that's maybe why it feels a bit harder. Things don't feel like they flow as easily, and situations I go into and I'm unsure of the outcome. So it's, yeah, I think I need to just spend a little bit more time on that one. And there's definitely something in, so I can kind of feel the difference now as I'm talking between being in that state and having that positive expectation and maybe not being in it as well this past year, and why I'm coming up with more kind of stumbling blocks. But it is, I guess, because it's new as well. A lot of kind of the situations that I'm coming up against are new, but no, this is good. It's quite a thought-provoking one for me. So I think I need to spend a bit more time on this. It's good.
Well, you're remembering, you just did spend more time on it. So you
Yeah.
remember what it feels like to go be that authority, that dominant, successful, and whatever words are best for you. Okay. In command and control of a situation and getting the result, the desired outcome, right? That confident person. Okay. So now you remember, oh, who did that? Oh, that was me. That was Nicola. Oh, that was me. Okay, great. So I'll go be that again. And that's the thing, when we can transfer or basically we're hiring the right girl to do the job, right? That's the person we're hiring is this Nicola over here. Great. Now we're going to go do that job. Same girl. She's going to go do that job now. That's it. I just got to remember who I am. Holy crap. Thank you, Nicola. You remind us who we are all the time because you help us sit there and get quiet and stop thinking so much.
I think it could be part of the problem, actually, when we overthink things as well.
Yeah.
And we're not overthinking the positive expectation. We tend to overthink the negative one. That's where we come across all of the problems, rather than focus on the solution that we actually want and let the rest of it take care of itself. So, no,
Wow.
that's good. Thank you for that.
Great stuff. Everyone, tune into Nicola's group meditation on Tuesdays. And now we're going to hear from one of my favorite peoples in all of Northern Ireland, Mr. Bill McDonald. How are you, brother?
Hi, John. Really good today. Absolutely bouncing. It's been a very productive day, and you have hit on a very productive subject. It's first off, I've been for another session with my shrink, which was excellent. And it's all about building confidence in ourselves, because we all lack confidence. We all doubt ourselves, and Nicola just hit on it. We overthink. Sometimes we can be attaining to try to be that little bit too intelligent when it needs to be downgraded. Sometimes just think laterally. Don't be trying to think too high and mighty, because you're not going to do yourself any favors. And it is a case that your confidence, just what you've been speaking about, John, directly correlates to consistency, which goes back to what Nicola was saying again. We've got to be consistent on everything we do. If you're not consistent on keeping yourself on the straight and narrow, on your integrity, on your ability to keep fit, your ability to keep your mind fit, your ability to search and reach for your goals, you ain't going to achieve anything. What you said earlier, and I loved that clip you played, that was super. Really hit the spot. April the 1st has a very good memory. Well, I say very good. I'll sort of add that with a caveat. It was my first day of duty, and it was a night shift. My very first day turning up for duty, handed a rifle, handed a body armor in the dark in an army camp on the border, and wondering, what the hell am I doing here? So, but that built out your confidence because you started to eat in, although this was your first night doing anything independently. You had to rely on your training and your wit and everything else that you'd built up over your life. And throughout our lives, and the more I think about this, the more we are all guilty of it, is we do more good and more positive things in our life than we do bad and negative things. But yet we allow the negative to override the positive every single time. You can do 10 good things in a row, but as soon as you hit that fail button, you think, oh God, all that other stuff's wiped out. Well, it's not actually. It's all still there. And you have gone on before about doing, what's my aim today? Is it to get 10 sales or is it to get 15 fails? And the fails are the ones that make you try that little bit harder. We're all intelligent people. I knew a young fella, 21. He had autism. He had a really bad upbringing. He had mega problems, let's just say. But I never met a guy more enthusiastic about selling stuff to anybody. I gave him a role one time of saying, I need this garage cleared. What can you do for me, James? Man, he went at that like a bull at a china shop. And he was so enthusiastic to the point that even people that were coming to the house to buy the stuff, he managed to get extra money out of them, despite what he had advertised it at. And there's a guy that most people would look at and say, well, he's not very clever, didn't have any real schooling or anything else. But you'll never beat confidence like that in anybody. Despite all the knocks in his life, he had massive confidence. And that's exactly what we need to tap into. Consistency, clarity of thought will give you that confidence. And we'll get there. My wins today, I had a fantastic meeting with Mr. Neil Benison. And if anybody needs help with PPC campaigns, etc., speak to the man. He knows what he's at. That gave me a massive boost of confidence today because my product is now on page 1 when somebody searches. And it's not costing me a fortune, thankfully. Otherwise, if I'd have done it on my own, I'd have been selling the house by now. The second thing is, I made this. It took me 10 days and it tastes bloody marvelous. It's
What
like
is it?
Guinness.
Oh, okay.
And I've just poured, that's the first pint. And it's awesome. That's a win. That can do me more good than anything. Here, look, I made this. That's fantastic. These are all simple wins, and these are all the things we need to be doing. And you've hit the nail on the head today, as usual, John. As usual, thankfully. Great subject. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. Congratulations to you. And wow. So look at all these wins. You mentioned Neil. Jane and Neil are members here. I know they're not on the general session live as much as they'd like to be, but they've become very competent in the area of helping people with their pay-per-click campaigns, advertising campaigns for Amazon products. So apparently Bill is getting the results from that. Page 1, congratulations, brother. This is just the beginning. Moving on, we're going to hear from, now I know what this guy is good at because he's told me, nothing shy, Cyril, the dancer, resident dancer. I know what you're good at. And how do you feel when you do that, right? I mean,
it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's akin to flying an airplane in some sense. The joy of being in the air, the administration of so many thoughts going through your mind to administer what you're doing. And so you get a brain high out of it. Okay. And then also on top of that, you've got the physical high you're getting from dance and movement. And then the joy of the aesthetic and being in a woman's arms or her being in my arms. I tell you, there are so many payoffs. It's unbelievable. So yeah, that's one of mine. But well, I have to restrict that because it was basically salsa on one. I do know a number of other styles and dances, but that one I know better than some of the others. But dance moves on. It's like language; it changes. It changes very quickly. So God knows how I'd compete with some of them now, but I'd still have fun with somebody who knows what I'm doing. I wanted to agree with both Bill and Nicola because I agree with all of what they said. In fact, the only reason I got good at that particular style of dance was because of all the failure I'd had with the other dances I'd done. Because I realized I put together from what I learned about why I failed, and in terms of the fact that I realized that it was a combination of not understanding how my own mind works well enough, and that what I needed to put into operation was visualization. So I did. And I utilized, so what I used to do with my once I'd done the classes is, well, it was more than that because I realized that I didn't have a way to hold on to it in my mind, dance, because it's a physical thing and it's hard to put a name to every movement you do. So I literally put my own names to each move I did if there wasn't a name already for it. And then I would not only visualize the routines in my head purposely so that I could start to see those physical movements in my mind, but also then would write them down, write the routines down in a format as well. So I could then go back and revisit my notes and run through that thought process and that visualization process, and that worked really well for me. And so that I became very fluent, and because that's really what it's about, and that's probably one of the hardest things for dancers to do who aren't naturally gifted, who don't understand the idea that it is about how you visualize in your mind. So when I'm dancing, I'm literally getting either my brain is either throwing up an idea of what maybe in terms of physical movement, or it's literally thinking of a picture of a kind of a short movie, or sometimes it's all sorts of things. And or actually what I feel from my partner is I think she thinks I'm going to do one thing, and I realize, oh, that's actually a better idea than the one I was about to do. So I do what she's thinking because I can feel it in her body what she thinks I'm about to do. It's an amazing process. I haven't learned to fly, but from when I've spoken to people who have, it seems quite akin to it, because the administration process when you're dancing in a partner is there's a lot going on. You'll think about where you're going, what you're doing, how you're doing it, how she's doing it, how she's going to handle it, whether she's in the right place to do the next move, and then you've got all this stuff going on the same. But I mean, Suzanne will probably understand will understand a lot of this as well. But but partner dancing as a whole, it's an amazing head buzz, completely. But yes,
can I jump in there, Cyril?
Sure, go for it.
Because you just hit something that was so profound. And I want to make sure that I get it and everybody else hears me getting it, and then maybe you'll get it too. And that is that you are focused not only on yourself, am I doing it right, and all the what I could call introversion, but also the extroversion. You've got enough confidence in your own ability because you've run it through your mind a million times that now you can communicate, in this case without words, but you can receive communication from this person, even though they're not maybe using words.
Yeah.
But you've got that level of communication, and
physically,
as a result of your own confidence that you don't need to try and do it right or anything. You can improvise actually.
Well, you throw it off. It's about throwing off, because everybody starts from the same position. Nobody knows anything in the beginning. You have to learn it, and you have to be humble enough to know the fact that you are going to mistake.
You're selling with no script. You're selling with no script, right?
Okay, how that's an interesting way to put it. I hadn't thought of it that way, but it's a very you literally feel you can. What I must admit, I learned a lot actually from teaching I began to realize that I could literally sometimes figure out what people were thinking from the way they were moving and the way they're dancing. It doesn't always happen. Sometimes it's really profound. I remember one of my students, I literally kind of diagnosed half her childhood because of the way she moved with me. But that doesn't happen often where I can but on the other hand, that it's like when you're dancing with a partner, it's like it's not like at all. You are having a physical conversation, and I can feel if she doesn't like what I'm doing. I can feel if she doesn't like my style.
We're gonna keep it rated
It's
G.
exactly. It's also.
Right.
It's an amazing process. Sorry, you just kicked me off. So, but I must admit, I've always suffered from confidence, a lack of confidence, and it's only it's in my latter years I've kind of got to the point where, although I still have a certain amount of lack of confidence, it's much less. But I'm more confident of the fact because I've done things. And things don't surprise me so much anymore. I'm not so nervous about it because I'm not frightened of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because which is one of the great things about getting older. But but the trouble, although I must realize sometimes some people mistake my what seems like confidence for arrogance, which I'm sorry to hear or see. But anyway, it's a nicer position to be than when I was a child. That's for sure. Thank you.
Thank
John.
you, Cyril.
Great one.
Yeah, you've never occurred as arrogant to me, I don't think, or anyone in this group. But people a lot of times will
They misunderstand.
Well, they'll read their own autobiography into what they compare their insides to other people's outsides. And if I acted like that, well, that would be pretty arrogant, right? Or there's this thing called the tall poppy syndrome, right? Where
you're head above the others.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So so like Nicola was saying, let's not overthink it. Go be awesome, man, and know that you are, and that's okay to be awesome. Wow, what a conversation today, guys. So who else just won the lottery? Come on down. Let's hear about it. What are you awesome at that you know you're awesome at? And what does that feel like? And can you transfer that into new ventures? Virginia, I know what you're awesome. I know a couple of things that you're awesome at, like cookie and, making cookbooks.
Okay. You can hear me now?
I sure can.
Maybe I can actually start my video. I was eating, so I didn't want everybody to see me putting my food in my mouth.
You're so aesthetic. Whenever you're on here without your video, I'm saddened because I don't get to see you, and as well as your beautiful backdrop. I mean, it's always an aesthetic experience, Virginia.
Thank you. So what am I awesome at? I'm becoming more awesome at making decisions, and today is the first day of the rest of my e-commerce life, because yesterday was the last day of my working full-time as a case manager. Yay! I'm down to part-time, which I gotta get caught up on all the crap that I still on my desk so I can actually get down to part-time. So I'll be working, should be like 12, maybe 15 hours a week. It really kind of is in that ballpark instead of 40, which means I took a 10% pay cut, but who cares? Which means that I now have the freedom to spend more time doing my online business so I can generate that passive income, which isn't really passive, but it's, that repetitive income coming in and everything. So that's a huge win for me today. I just
Congratulations.
feel so much better about that. Thank you. Thank you. And Nicola, I want to say I've been watching your recordings. If you guys haven't done the meditation with Nicola, I cannot believe how energized I feel after that 15, 20 minutes, and I see some of the same people on there all the time. So now I'll be able to actually join live on Tuesdays on there, but that is awesome. I'm looking forward to the nutrition that happens on Fridays that I've never been able to really take advantage of. And maybe even I could get some yoga in. So anyway.
Oh, goodness, we're getting all these benefits.
I am excited. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Virginia. Always good to see you. Congratulations again on your transition into full-time entrepreneurship. Well done. Well done. All right. So we've got Julia up next. Hey, Julia.
Hey, I'm just sitting here trying to think, what do I feel good at? And I remembered back when I was an editor in an educational publishing company, and I absolutely loved what I did. I got to write stories to make learning easier for kids and more fun for kids, and I could whip out a book in a couple of weeks. And I moved on to other jobs and let that go, and it makes me think I'd like to get back to writing. So anyway, which has nothing to do with puzzles at this point. Well, it has something to do with puzzles, I guess, but because I need to write some scripts and some marketing stuff, but it's not the same.
Yeah, you got to write the ad copy, right? I mean, now you got to get the puzzle sold. You're not making puzzles just to sit around and do your own puzzles, right? I got your puzzle on my coffee table downstairs, the one that's behind you in the bookshelf. I think it's the same one, right? Is it the flowers,
No,
the
it's a
different
one. The books
a
are
different one?
the puzzles are being photographed right now. It's a different one. It was the first one that came out.
Ah, okay. Well, I got one of the first, everyone. So do not covet thy neighbor's puzzle. But the Trinity already started putting the edges together, and so yeah, and we got to put some pictures on Facebook and everything of us doing the Toozle puzzle. So
Thank you.
yeah, let's get it sold.
Yeah,
Thank you.
working on that.
Good stuff. Hey, guess who's going to speak now? Edward, what's up, brother? Edward.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. Look, Edward he's in the groove, man. He knows how to raise his hand and unmute his microphone. Like, welcome to the family, brother.
Hey, I'm just metamorphosizing right now because the things I'm hearing and the impact it's making on my psyche is just really, really impacting me right now. And I was listening to a couple of people on here just a minute ago, and I got this out of what you were talking about. You focus on your confidence and your ability to convey communication and congruence. And that boils down to selling with no script. I mean, that just kind of just, because that's what I'm after in terms of my profession. You want to convey the confidence and you want to convey your ability through the communication you're giving these people, but you want them to be congruent with you so that they'll move forward to take the action that you want them to take, which is to their own benefit. And, it's the perfect example of selling with no script. And, you have all these scripts and all these different things you have to learn, answer to objections and the whole 9 yards. But what this whole concept is, it aligns so much with what you know already. One of the verses I like to talk about is cast not away your confidence because it has great recompense of reward. That's in the Bible. So you think about all the things that are congruent with confidence, and it's just I just want to tell you, I apologize for coming out every time I'm on here, but I can't hold it in, John. And I just thank you so much for allowing me to have this. It's just awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Edward. So glad you're here. And no, I think you've only been on maybe 7 or 8 sessions, with different topics, discussions, and I don't think you've come out every time. You were on here yesterday. So no, look, you have a voice here. And look, everyone, this is what is the unique factor, which is it's not something you just find anywhere, right? This is not easily duplicated. The true masterminding ability, where it's no gurus, no pretense, no arrogance, nothing, where we're all just learning like how life works based on what we're observing in our own lives. No one's here to assert their own self-importance or anything, and no one's ideas about stuff are worth less because maybe they're a new member or something. You know how much I get from hearing people that speak up for the first time? Oh my goodness, Edward, this is for me. This is my mastermind group, damn it. I'm the customer, me. So thank you, brother. Thank you. So glad you're here. All right, we're coming to the top of the hour. We got a little bit of room. Anybody else wants to speak? That was Edward, by the way. Get to know him. Nicola, what's up?
No, sorry. I was getting ready to say thank you and goodbye.
Oh, okay. So Nicola's guns are loaded. just like Edwards are, right? Because we got all the word tracks already. We got the ammo, but now I get to hear what you're saying, right? Not think so much about, what I need to say, right? So that's the selling with no script. That's the confidence. That's the certainty that we got in ourselves, that now I can extrovert. I can put my attention on you, right? The customer, the person I'm getting in communication with, the dance partner, right? The guy I'm pitching the New York investment opportunity to because I flew from LA and I just won the lottery, right? I don't need to get it right. The way to get it right is to serve you. That's how you get it right, to know you're doing it right. I'm done talking. Anybody else? Last call. Today we have, I'll pull up my calendar one more time. We do have Brand Builder with Shannon at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then we do have between now and then Hospitality Suites open all day, except for 3:30 p.m. Eastern, where we're going to have gentle yoga and relaxation with Nancy Burtonshaw and Virginia Pipitone. Virginia will be there, right, Virginia? We get to do yoga today because now you are a free woman.
I have one more corporate meeting at 1:30, which is that time. But yes, got to get it off my desk.
Okay.
I will be there next week. Thank you.
No worries. No worries. So Nancy delivers. All right, my friends, let's wrap up with that. And one last thing. I just got a date for the a special event that's going on the calendar. Just keep it in the back of your mind for now. We're a couple weeks out. It's going to be Tuesday, the 13th of April. Good things happen in April. I like April. Tuesday, the 13th, we're going to be hearing from a friend of mine and CEO of a financial services company. I know we've recently read not Science Getting Rich. What did we read before that? Richest Man in Babylon, George Clayson, about financial literacy and doing the right thing, right? In terms of money and growing your wealth. Well, we're going to be hearing from a guy in a special event. I'll be creating a little promotion around this. And he took himself from $500,000 in debt, blue collar worker, to multimillionaire and CEO of a company in just a few years. So he's going to show you how he did it. And it's pretty damn cool. Virginia, your hand's up again. Virginia, come on down. What were you?
Is that going to be the standard general session time, or are you going to schedule that special event at a different time?
Yeah, that's going to be in the evening, and it looks like it's going to be probably 8 p.m. Eastern U.S. time, which is not a direct conflict with Wayne's metaphors for success, although we may preempt that. It's Wayne's choice, whatever Wayne wants to do. But it'll be Tuesday the 13th, and it is almost written in stone. I just thought I'd let you know about that. This is something that I've been preparing for a little while, and I think the time is right. So anyway, there's that. Stay tuned for more details. I will see you all real soon. Make it an awesome